Mao Zedong. They even quote Mao Zedong as a great philosopher, the red Chinese monster who killed perhaps 50 to 100 million people. So Obama is one of them. There was during the political campaign for president, in a number of Obama campaign offices, and particularly in Houston, Texas, they had a giant warehouse that operated and had about 250 workers in there, at his campaign headquarters in Houston. And the Houston television station, the local network station, went and did a feature at the campaign. And they didn't even mention one of the most amazing things about their whole visit. While they were there, they peered in and they were given permission to film the director of the Obama's Houston campaign office. And right behind her on the wall was a huge poster of Fidel Castro's what was his name he died down in oh my goodness, I'll look for it right here. He died in the revolution.
Under Fidel Castro?
Well, he was Fidel Castro's number 2 man, but he died in South America. He always wore a beret with a red star on it. Maybe somebody will call in. I guess I'm just not, sometimes I'm not thinking too straight.
It's all right, Tex.
Yeah. Well, the guy that he was shot because he tried to lead the revolution down in...
Not Batista.
Excuse me?
I'm trying to think myself, but I'm not...
No, Batista was the guy that Castro overthrew. I don't know, he was very popular among Hollywood liberals. They even have T-shirts with his picture on. He has a beard. So anyway, it'll come to me in just a minute. Little senior moment there. But anyway, they have these posters up of this communist revolutionary.
It wasn't Che Guevara, was it?
Yeah, Che Guevara. Thank you, Che Guevara.
Okay.
So the Cuban revolutionary. They have these posters up, and in fact, I have the picture, and in my video, you'll actually go into that campaign headquarters, and you'll see on one side you have Che Guevara's picture, on the other side you have Obama with the word change underneath it. Outside in their main auditorium of that campaign quarters, they had a gigantic poster that was like 40 feet across of Che Guevara. So this does not surprise me, though, because one of the other things that I expose in Rothschild's Choice is that the mentor and the teacher for Barack Obama, a man that Barack Obama actually gave credit to in his book, Dreams of My Father, supposedly written by Barack Obama, but people believe it was written by William Ayers.
Ayers, yeah.
Yeah, the Chicago communist leader. And terrorist, a convicted terrorist. But in any case, there was a man in Hawaii who used to live in Chicago, was head of a communist cell there, named Frank Marshall Davis. And you can Google him up and see all about Frank Marshall Davis. But Obama says, this is the man that taught me what I know about politics. And this is the man who was my mentor, and I called him Frank, just call him Frank. And this is the man that taught me what it is to be a black man. So, this is an important influence on his life. Now, I show you in my video the cover of the book written by Frank Marshall Davis. Actually, he wrote a number of books, many poems. He was calling himself a poet. And it seems that Obama loves these poets. You'll remember the one that accused the cop up in the East of racial profiling from Harvard. But in any case, Frank Marshall Davis wrote this book entitled, get this now, Sex Rebel Black. And there's a naked black man on the front cover. This is the mentor. He was a communist. In fact, he was called before the House Un-American Activities Committee and took the Fifth Amendment, refused to say, what communist organization he's a member of. But in his book, now I read it very carefully, Sex Rebel Black, the mentor, the teacher, the communist teacher of Barack Obama, all through his teenage years, says that he met this couple he was trolling for sex partners to swing with. He didn't care if they were man or women. He's a bisexual. And he met this white couple. The woman was a blonde in the public park in Honolulu. And he followed them. They all agreed. They met each other, and then he followed them back to his hotel room. Their hotel room. And they all had, strange sex, kinky sex together. Later on, he said, by the way, they said that they lived in Seattle, Washington, but they loved Hawaii. And, in fact, they did live in Seattle, Obama's grandparents, and they moved to Hawaii, where because of her communist party standing, Miss Dunham, the grandmother of Obama, became the vice president of Hawaii's biggest bank, the Bank of Hawaii. So, everything fits together, by the way. And this guy, Frank Marshall Davis, also says that a young girl, just 14 years old, named Ann, and remember that's what Obama's mother's name was, Stanley Ann Dunham, they just call her Ann, that he had sex with her on numerous occasions. A white girl, 14 years old. So it's believed that is Obama's mother. And some believe, in fact, that Obama's real father is Frank Marshall Davis, and that's why he will not produce his birth certificate. This notorious communist homosexual pervert is the one that he talks about. But he does mention him in his book. So, again, all of this is part of the Chicago connection. Now we get to Rothschild. Rothschild founded a city in Israel in 1909 that is called, he named it this, the White City, W-H-I-T-E. Now that's Tel Aviv. It was founded in 1909. It is the banking capital and the stock market center of Israel. But Chicago is also called the White City. Quite an interesting thing. Chicago has a zip code 60606 or 666, according to occult numerology, because they never pay attention to the zeros in numerology. So this white city, Tel Aviv, is also a satanic city. In another video I'm working on now, I'll talk about the various aspects. By the way, Bernie Madoff sent all as many billions of dollars to Tel Aviv, to the Israeli discount bank. That's where the money sits. That's why the Madoff, the people that he shafted with his Ponzi scheme, will never get paid a cent, because the U.S. Justice Department and Obama and the bankers know very well where all the money went to. It's sitting in the Tel Aviv Israel bank. It will never be given up. And that bank, by the way, is owned by the Bronfmans. Other than Rothschild, perhaps one of the 3 or 4 richest dynasties in the world, the Bronfmans. So there's all kinds of little bitty, subplots here. But what I want people to understand is Obama was sent by his mentors after his education to Chicago. And he linked up there with very rich, super rich billionaire Jews. They bought him a mansion. By the way, in the state legislature, he did not represent black people. He is not a black president. He's not a black man in a way, but he actually lived in and represented a Jewish district and neighborhood. Almost everybody who lived there were rich Jews, Zionists. And that's where he got all his support from. Rothschild sent his agent, George Soros, a Hungarian Jew, a guy who was well knowledgeable of how to break banks and world currencies, who literally destroyed the British pound currency some years ago and made billions out of it. But he's a Rothschild agent, and George Soros, he owns MoveOn.org and other organizations on the Internet, but he sent him with all the money necessary for Barack Obama's success. So he didn't just come out of nowhere. But he had probably twice as much money as Hillary Rodham Clinton. And it didn't come $5 and $10 donations from the little people, Johnny. It came from George Soros and Rothschild and the Rothschild banks. So this is the facts about the man. is the city of the most powerful mafia in the world is Chicago, and they're Jews.
Okay.
A lot of people say, well, how about Al Capone? He worked for the Jewish mob.
Okay, I have a couple comments here, and I know Henry wants to say something, but one of the comments is, please let Texe know that it is God who is operating all in accord with the counsel of his will. He quotes Ephesians. Then he said, God is where evil came from in the first place, Isaiah 45, verse 6-7. And then he says, in this, Jesus Christ was also a Rothschild of Boaz, B-O-A-Z, and Ruth. And she was the grandmother, and he was the grandfather of King David. So I'm wondering what your comments are on that.
Well, I don't think we can track Rothschild back any further than the birth of the first of the Rothschild clan, Mayer Amschel Rothschild, in Germany. That was the beginning of the Rothschild dynasty and the banking empire. But of course, Jewish banking combines and their different lending groups, cartels, have existed since the days of ancient Rome. But I don't think we can go back to Boaz in the Bible. So I think a little bit of that is pure nonsense. And as far as God creating evil, it is true that God created everything, but it is Satan who
we're going to take
rebel.
a quick break here for station ID, and then when we come back, I want you to answer that. And Henry, you can ask your question. We'll be right back.
Want to know if your kids are experimenting or abusing drugs and alcohol? Then test them. American Drug Testing Consultants offers all types of in-home drug testing kits. Our most popular is the Parents Program, which contains an alcohol swab, a detailed manual on everything you want to know about drugs, a family pledge, a 24-hour phone helpline, and other literature. The included drug test detects for amphetamine, methamphetamine, THC, opiates, barbiturates, benzodiazepines, PCP, methadone, ecstasy. Results are given in the privacy of your home in 5 minutes. You can also buy the 10-panel drug test separately from the entire kit. Contact American Drug Testing Consultants at 410-543-0448 or go to AMERICANDTC.com. That's AmericanDTC.com or email info@AmericanDTC.com. We ship globally.
Here's what an expert says about distilled water. If you decide on bottled water, make sure it's distilled. However, in the long run, you'll save money if you clean your water at home. It's more convenient than hauling gallon jugs from the store. The gold standard for purifying your water is a system that distills your water and filters it. You have the comfort of knowing there is no chlorine, fluoride, bacteria, viruses, pesticides, or lead. You get nothing but H2O. Maximum health. Dr. Robert T. Willits, Jr., M.D. Order your tabletop water distiller for $139.99 post-paid. It comes with everything you need to get pure distilled water. Go to superstore.theamericanvoice.com. That's superstore.theamericanvoice.com. Order now.
The battle is raging. God's people put out the light by letting their light shine. The world will put out the light by extinguishing the knowledge of God. The struggle is coming to a head with the mark of the beast. You are determined you won't take it, but the Bible says the world is deceived by Antichrist. It does not say the world is deceived except America, or the world is deceived except Baptists, Catholics, or Zen Buddhists. The world is deceived by Antichrist. Those who become confused about the identity of Antichrist will be deceived. You need the facts revealed in the book. Put out the light today. Discount and rebate information by emailing loudcry.2007@gmail.com. That's one word, loudcry.2007@gmail.com with "Put out the light" in the subject line. Don't be the fool that waits to see what will happen. Be wise. Read "Put out the light" and be ready. loudcry.2007@gmail.com.
welcome back to the New World Order Disorder with Dr. Gianni Hayes. And this is Henry Daniel, her co-host. And tonight we have the first hour, we've got a great guest, Mr. Texe Marrs. And he is talking about our Rothschild's puppet, our President Obama. And Texe, we have a